Let's play quietly. Hey everybody, this is Brian here from Let's Play Quietly, and I am playing through Let It Die. This character, whose name is Rowland, is the second character that I've played with so far. For those of you that have not played Let It Die or are not familiar with the game, it is essentially a roguelike where you have different characters that you can go into what they call the Tower of Barbs and try to make your way to the top. You have loot that you discover along the way, and you also find blueprints that you can use to buy weapons later on, and you can level up your different fighters. But kind of like Dark Souls, if you die in the tower, you can lose the stuff that you found. This is a free-to-play game, so you can actually use the in-game currency to resurrect yourself, and if you run out of that currency, you can put real money into the game. I have not done that yet, and I've only used 2 characters so far. This one, Rowland, is brand new. I haven't used him at all. I have another character named Meridian, who I believe I've leveled her up to level 4 or 5 or something. But what I'm doing here is I'm going to the store and buying some very rudimentary armor and a crossbow to take into the tower with me. And these were blueprints that I had bought, that I had actually found in the tower and brought back, and now I can purchase them for different characters if I have the currency. So I'm just equipping Rowland, and then we'll take him into the tower, and I've only been to like the 3rd level of the tower so far, so I'm kind of grinding with Rowland because I want to build him up and make sure that he's ready to move up to the higher levels. This strange looking woman over here who is wearing a mushroom hat and is chanting about mushrooms actually sells a healing stew that is made of mushrooms, but she also sells stickers that you can put on your body, and they will offer you different buffs. So the buff system here is basically decals, they call them, but they're stickers that you put on your body. So ironically, I purchase one here that actually helps me recover strength or recover hit points when I attack enemies successfully. The problem is that I don't know how to equip it, and so I buy this decal here, and I haven't figured out how to actually put it on yet, so I'm not getting any benefit from it. Later on, I figure it out, but right here, I had no idea what I was doing, because most of this game is still very new to me, and so, I ended up not even equipping it. What you see in the top right-hand corner is a mushroom, and mushrooms are things that you actually find along the way when you're in the tower, and they have different levels of power-up. Some can give you energy, some can provide defensive buffs, some of them can be used as grenades, and so a lot of what you use to get through a particular level is things that you find when you're in that level. And so here we go. We are going up the escalator to the first level, which I think is called Ikegara. I'm not sure. But I originally cleared this level with Meridian, my first character, and And so again, what I'm trying to do here is to level up Rowland so that when I get up to the level that I've unlocked, I think level 3, he'll be ready for that. So here he is in Ikegara. And at first, when we get into the level, there's not a ton of enemies here, and that's because I did initially clear out this level, but there are, from what I can tell, enemies that respawn each time you come through. So I'm a little tentative here at first because I kept expecting enemies to be there. Another thing that you'll notice is that there's a mushroom right there. So that one is a mushroom that will explode. And there is on the ground, over there you see a frog. If you crouch down and grab it, you can put it in your bag, and it will essentially turn into a mushroom. Or basically a health potion. So you want to make sure to collect these. If you stomp on them, they turn into a different kind of power-up, which I find less helpful. So you have to make sure you actually pick them up. And that's just currency that you can get that will help you buy weapons or upgrades later on. So here we are running into our first couple of enemies, and these guys are weird when you look at them. They're actually like headless corpses that have almost like a radio antenna on their head, and their arms are also basically like antennas, and they detect you. You can hear them. You can hear like their radio feedback when you go by, and when they detect you, they'll take a swing at you. You can actually get them to attack one another if you're basically strategic about how you go at them, but they're not very dangerous by themselves. This is an enemy that is much more aware and will aggressively attack, and here you see I'm mistiming my attacks, and so I'm miscalculating my range of my fists, and so I keep missing her. And she's getting those shots off with what is a fireworks launcher. And my beating heart, you'll see, when my stamina goes down, my heart beats faster. If it beats too fast, I will be unable to move. And so you want to time your attacks. See, I stepped on that frog and it turns into a tear gas mushroom, which is much less helpful. And if you eat it, it will actually cause you to experience the tear gas. And I make that mistake all the time of eating mushrooms I'm not supposed to. So as you can see, the firework launcher itself, not a super effective weapon. And I was trying to aim it and almost got my butt kicked by this antenna guy. So here we have another suitcase. And it has a gun in it, which is awesome. Because there are enemies as you get further in this game that you definitely want to have a ranged attack for. You'll notice that a lot of the enemies that I fight, I will just fight with my bare hands, because your fists actually do a good amount of damage. And some of the weapons, much like in Dark Souls, because the animations take longer, you can actually be more vulnerable to attack with some of the weapons that you wield. So I go with my fists a lot, but I have to constantly watch my stamina, because if you miss time a couple attacks, then you get what's happening to me now, which is I get just hammered. So, now that I took that enemy down, I can pick up their weapon. And I don't know if I do or not, but I do eat a frog, because I need some health. Because if you don't make it out of here with the loot that you gather, then it's basically lost. And so we've seen a couple different types of enemies so far. You saw the antenna heads, now you see that these are enemies that are kind of like me, and they are different levels, and they are much more aggressive. They all have different weapons. This one is a hot iron that shoots steam, and if you're not careful, they can really take away a lot of damage. The camera in this game is not good, and so there are many times where I end up getting myself in a situation where I can't see what the heck is going on. So there's an iron, and I'm going to pick that up. You have 3 equipment slots per arm. So I have an iron in one hand, I have my gun, I believe, in another hand, and then I have 2 open fists. Here, for some reason, I can't unlock that door, so I have to find another way to get out of this level. So I'm heading down this hallway, and I can clearly see another enemy, and their aggro range is pretty far. So as you can see, that enemy saw me from a ways away, and they will relentlessly pursue you. She has some sort of a hammer, which has more of a range than my iron, I believe. And again, with my stamina, I'm just trying to not use up my stamina dodging so that I can actually counterattack. One thing that I'm not doing well here at all is I'm not blocking, and that was primarily because I forgot which button you block with, but it's the same button that you dodge with. If you tap the block button at the right time, you will stun your opponent, and you can basically counterattack for more damage. But I ended up taking her down, and so we earn experience points for each enemy that we take out. And you can hear a lot of the enemies from a good ways away, but basically once they see you, you're in trouble. So now I can hear other enemies down this hallway, and I believe right here is where we're going to run into what is known as a hater. And I believe that a hater is the corpse of another player that died in this level. And they basically are someone that you have to fight in your game, and they are of a higher level usually than your regular enemies, and they also are usually more skilled because they've been leveled up. So you see the guy in orange is the quote-unquote hater, and he's fighting the other enemies, but as soon as he sees me, he comes for me, and this is a bad situation because I do not want to be facing off against 3 enemies at the same time. And here's where we run into camera problems, and I almost die right here. Now, the thing about Let It Die that is different than Dark Souls, let's say, is that Dark Souls, the combat is very tight, and you know exactly what to expect. In this game, the combat is a little more janky, although you saw that I actually managed to hit both of them at the same time and take them both out. So that was great. But the combat is a little bit janky in this game, and because of that, you never want to be in a scenario where you are facing off against 3 enemies, especially with a character that is as low level as I am. I cannot take a lot of punishment, and I'm not strong enough yet to really be able to take care of large groups of enemies at the same time. So it's very important that I manage them. And here again, I'm just trying to stay out of range of that firework gun and then hit the enemy with a barrage of shots to keep them from being able to fire. And I'm trying to balance my stamina at the same time, so took care of that one. So far, so good. But I'm not out of the woods yet. There's a couple of those antenna heads that are walking around in this area here. And again, one at a time, not a big deal. So I'm just trying to lure this one over and take care of him before the next one can find me. And they're pretty easy because they're level 1. Some of the enemies that I face are higher than that. Here's another one. And if you wait for them to come to you, it can take a while, so I'm trying to get in there without getting myself hit. And boom. So we take him down too. So now I'm at the point where I've gathered some loot, I've earned some experience, and I kind of want to get out of this level. There's another mushroom, and I forget what that one does, but there's a few pickups around here. And there's also, oh, maybe there's not right here. I thought there might be a rat. You can pick up rats as well, and you can eat them. Oh, there we go. So that mushroom put my defense up by 50%. Now here is the elevator that I can take out of this level. Except before I do, I have to take out this enemy here. And I'm not doing a very good job of it. I'm trying to block, but really that block move, it's better when you just use it as a counter creator like he just did to me. You saw that I got stunned a little bit. So, I'm just trying to take care of this last enemy before I get out of this level, because then I can take what I've earned and bring it down to the waiting room or the lobby of this building, this tower of barbs that I'm in. So I took him out. And now I think I'm clear to head out. The gold elevator, I forget what the gold elevator does, but I should be able to take this elevator here. See, the doors open and then they close. I haven't figured out what that does yet. But I can choose to take this elevator down and save what I have, so I'm going to do that. It cost me 120 gold to go down. But I want to level up the character a little bit because I'm just grinding to get him more powerful. So what's cool is that as we are going down in the elevator, you will see in a moment that you get a map of your path through the level, and you'll see that in a moment. It essentially shows you how you went through the level, who you fought, where your enemies were that you took out, and if you look at the picture of me on the left, you'll see the the damage show up on my body. If I changed gear, it will show that. So it's almost like an instant replay of what you did on that level. So now we're back in the lobby, and it sort of tallies up what you have done. You know, what you earned for coins and what you earned for experience, and I don't know what that other currency is, but you now have sort of banked it. So, and you also get these unlockable boxes every day, but I already opened mine for today, so I have to wait until tomorrow to open that one. But this is where you go to level up this giant brain over here. And so I'm spending my experience points. Right now I'm level 1. And I am going to level up my hit points and my strength, I believe, and my dex, because I want to be faster, and I also want to be able to block better. My stamina obviously will let me dodge more and punch more, so I'm just kind of generally leveling up the character at this point, Rowland, and he is now level 7, so that was a good grind through that place so far. I was able to level him up to 7, and now, before I go back into the fray, I can go and purchase some more stuff, and this is, I think, where I figured out how to put the decal. If you go to change decal, you will be able to pick which one you put on, and so you can see I put the mosquito one on, which is the recover 3% of damage when you attack. So now that I've done that, that will be a buff that stays with me. And then I go back over to my guy here, because my armor got destroyed in the level, so I can purchase some more before I go back out into the fray, and I'm hoping to get more elaborate blueprints, which I'm sure I will find, that will help me get better gear, and so I can use them even for my new characters. I usually try to sell off the stuff that I know I'm not going to use, because I can always use the extra cash, so I'm just dumping stuff out of my inventory, because right now I only have 20 slots in my inventory, and if they fill up, you have to drop stuff in order to pick up new stuff, and so that's kind of a pain in the butt. But yeah, it was a good run, and I am gonna re-gear up and then head back out, but I think that is going to wrap up this episode of my Let's Play of Let It Die. So if you like this video, then please click like and subscribe to our YouTube page, and let me know if this is a game that you would like to see more of. I will definitely do a couple more episodes, but whether or not I do a whole series on it will depend on how much people like it. And I will also play a bit with my other character as well. And there's a lot of the features of this game that I haven't even explored yet, so there's a whole, multiplayer piece to it that I haven't played with at all. So that's going to wrap up this episode, though. So thank you for watching, and I will be back soon.